Good evening. It's Romania Black, and we are on season 3 of Modazushi, episode 8, The Rule of 8. If you've not watched any of my other reactions, anytime there is a 12 episode or 11 episode or 13 episode season of something, my theory is that episode 8 is usually always going to be a good episode. 8's my lucky number, so I'm partial, I'm biased, but it's happened every time. Episode 8 has been a good episode. Even if episode 7 was wonderful and episode 9 was awesome, episode 8 will not let you down because it's always that start towards the climax. And I can't believe we're at the climax of this series. We're reaching the final part of season 3. It's really sad because I've loved this season. This has been my favorite season of the whole thing. I'm not too sad though because we still have the novel and the audio drama to read and listen to. So it doesn't feel like the end of Modazushi, and there's still the Untamed to watch. But I am sad that the Donghua is ending. I am sad. And so I've really come to love getting updates weekly like you all with this season and it being fresh and new and exciting. That's always been really fun. So I've enjoyed that a lot. But yeah, episode 8, y'all. Last episode was pretty crazy. The cat's out of the bag. And I was so frustrated because we have that cliffhanger of WuXian getting stabbed by Ling. You knew it was going to happen. You knew that at the end of it, Ling was not going to react well to finding out it is Wei Wuxian, but I didn't picture him actually stabbing him. But here we are. And so I had to wait a week like you all, and then the episode came out yesterday, and I had to be completely out of town the entire day, and I was like, well. And then today was busy, so I'm like, dang it. So I'm now sitting down, having my wine, and getting ready to watch this episode. But I wanted to talk about a few quick things before we start. One, things that were pointed out to me from the comments both on YouTube and Patreon, and they're mainly about where Huiseng and Sushi fall into this, because we've established Yao as a shady figure at this point. Yao is pretty much one of the main guys behind it all, right? Right? I mean, he has to be at this point. It's pretty obvious he wants to expose Wuxian and put all the blame on him and then let things go back to normal without it. And so I'm curious to get the whole full picture with Yao, but Yao's pretty much, he's in the cahoots villain boat at this point. But Sushi and Huiseng, they're still so hard to read and we don't know the full deal with them. A lot of you have pointed out that Sushi has reasons to not like Wuxian, has reasons to not like Chang, has reasons to not like the Jin clan. He really has reasons not to like everybody. But somebody was pointing out that the pins that were in Ning and even in Song, some of them have connections to the Lan clan, which we can predict is probably Sushi. Sushi is probably in with old Daddy Jin for reasons that we don't know yet. So I'm curious to know at this point in the story, where is he aligning with Yao? Is he working as an independent agent? Is he aligning with Huiseng? Because Huiseng I can see would want to get revenge on Yao because he'd figure out that Yao is responsible for his brother's death. I get that. But it's just there's still questions about the allegiances that we don't know. And I've wrote down some notes here. Where does Yang's involvement fit into all this? We know that Yao had a soft spot for Yang pretty much because he didn't let him get killed. He sentenced him to a life sentence instead of, punishable by death like what Mingzhu wanted. And so I'm sure there's reasons, but we don't know entirely where Yang's involvement is in all this. And there's still a lot of unanswered questions. But I've got to say, I feel bad for XiChen. I do. Because as a lot of you have pointed out, and as I've seen in these episodes, there are some really stark parallels between Wangji and Wuxian and Yao and XiChen. There's some big parallels, right? Both the two Lan brothers, they fall hard and they are committed. They stay committed. So it's like Wangji, and the sad thing is Wangji is maybe getting his happy ending with Wuxian, having him come back to life after dying, but XiChen is having to deal with the fact that Yao is not Wuxian. Yeah, Wuxian is a selfless person that cares about everybody else. He doesn't care about himself at all. He only cares about other people, and he's self-sacrificing. Like, Wuxian is such a self-sacrificing character, and Yao's the exact opposite. Yao only cares about himself and getting himself in the most comfortable, perfect position. He doesn't care what he has to do and who he has to expend to do it. He just wants to help himself. And then it's kind of weird because I say that, and then at the same time, a lot of you, the observation towers have been the one aspect of the story that I've been very confused upon. And thankfully, y'all in both the YouTube and Patreon comments have been really helpful for letting me understand that the observation towers are just a way of communicating, their way of building branches between the common folk and the more higher up cultivators, which makes sense because Yao is from the common people. If his mom was the courtesan, it makes total sense. And it makes sense that people would be against that because it's creating some equality there. And so that's how his son ends up getting murdered. I'm still a little sketchy on the details of it, and I'm hoping that these last 3 episodes will bring everything to light. I think they will. I hate the fact that I'm saying the last 4 episodes, I guess. We have 8, 9, 10. Well, no, we have 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We have 5 episodes. We've got plenty of episodes left. Why am I worried? Why am I worried? So, but yeah, I don't know where I was getting that number from, but in any case, I feel like there's still a lot left to go over and explore in this final season, in this last part. But the observation towers make a lot more sense now that y'all said it. So I say that Yao's a very selfish person, but at the same time, he is interested in the common people and doing whatever he can. It reminds me a little bit of Erwin Smith from Attack on Titan, just a little bit, about him doing whatever it takes to ensure the common people's survival, right? And getting equality for them. So it's a weird dynamic. Yao is a very complicated character, and I'm really excited when we get to the novel to get more about him and see where that goes. But yeah, I've been so excited for this episode, but I'm so nervous because I don't know what to expect. I'm like, I don't know, but I was told that I was going to need this, so I've talked for like 7 minutes. Let's do this. Let's do this. The rule of 8, y'all. Let's see if the rule of 8 holds through, shall we? We're going to do that here. We're going to watch episode 8 of Modao Zushi here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's do this. I'm never going to get over these cliffhangers. It's never going to end. Man, oh my God. This episode, okay, first of all, I'm glad that WuXian's okay. I don't know why I suspected otherwise. And Wangji just Wangji was too concerned about him getting away to worry about it, right? Too concerned. So he just let Ling go. Damn. Oh my gosh. I'm really glad that WuXian's okay. I'm glad that he figured it out. Our chaotic gremlin put 2 and 2 together. Finally. He's like, crap. I've married a man and didn't even realize it. But he's okay with it, so it's all good. I feel so bad for XiChen. So bad for him. Because it's, like I said before the episode started, it's a parallel. MXTX girl, you're just like the angst. The angst. I want an angst with a happy ending for XiChen, and I don't think it's gonna happen. Which sucks. Because it's like they've established in this episode that the land boys, our landmen, they are the soulmate edition. They fall for one man and then it is over. They fall for one person, and it's like they're like penguins mating for life. Like they are not messing around. And Wangji, for him, WuXian's his guy. That's his person, his soulmate. For their dad, it was their mom. And then for XiChen, it's funny, we need to go back to that conversation, because I really think that conversation about the mom and the dad, when XiChen's asking WuXian what he thinks about it, I think it's more for XiChen than anything, because XiChen's like, look, if Yao is a bad person, am I wrong to love them? It's like, that's such a hard question. That's such a hard question, and it's so complicated. But man, okay. So, and it's so hard because what we've seen of Yao is like, yeah, Yao's not a good person. So, but there's more at work here. There's more at work here. And we want to talk about this. And even as I'm thinking about it, I'm like, wait, no, there's more at work here. So, okay. I have more theories about sushi after this episode. have more theories about sushi, and it's all starting to make sense. Again, I'm glad we have 4 episodes instead of what I thought was like 3 because we have more time. So yeah, poor baby Ling. I feel so bad for Ling because it was a hit and run. He acted in the moment, and Wangji coming up and just, holding him in his arms, just worried about him. And you can tell Ling feels awful. Like Ling's like, oh God. He's like, what have I done? And sees WuXian pass out and runs off. So here's the thing. It starts to rain when WuXian passes out, and then we go underneath this tree. But I wanted to pause this. So we see Wangji doing some kind of like healing thing on WuXian's wrist. But the thing is, that's not WuXian and Mo Jianyu's body there. That's WuXian in his original body, in that flashback. And he tells him to go away. Yeah, because he's in the robes and everything. And Wangji's trying to help him. And I don't know where they're at. They're in the trees somewhere. And Wangji's trying to help heal him. And then he says, go away. And he like leans in to check on him. And like has the hand up to him and everything. It's like, Wangji! And then WuXian yells at him to go away. And then right at that moment, WuXian wakes up in Mo Jianyu's body to grab Wangji's sleeve. And Wangji was by his side the whole time. Like Wangji, just this unconditional love. And the thing with him as a child, waiting for his mom, even after he knew she was dead, waiting for her, even though he knew she wasn't coming back. And he did the same thing for WuXian for 13 years. No wonder as soon as he gets WuXian back, he's like, I lost my mom, but I'm not losing you. And I'm not letting you go. It's like, oh my gosh. I need a Wangji. I need a Wangji. I don't know how. If y'all find one, send them my way. God, that unconditional love. And then him like telling WuXian looks like, oh God. And luckily they bandaged him up. Don't think I didn't notice when Wangji was like tearing open that robe to see his sculpted abs. Don't think I wasn't watching that. We know what you're doing, Lanzan. Man. But I like the fact that the sword does seal itself and WuXian realizes, crap, I really have screwed myself because I've given it away that I'm back. It's like, awesome. Great. And his reaction is so, it's the universal face palm, like, God, why was I an idiot? And then, but then, so Wangji going to meet his uncle, and I thought he was going to tell his uncle about WuXian. I really did. I thought he was going to tell him about WuXian, but he hasn't yet. And he took WuXian back to the cloud recesses. He took him back like he was originally going to. He's like, I'll be damned if I'm going to leave you again. Nope, we're going back to the cloud recesses right now. And then I like that WuXian's like, if your brother finds out about this, and XiChen's like, no, I know. Mr. Wei. I love he's like, there's no need for formalities. He says, Mr. Wei. What a brother-in-law. Yep. And he's just like, no, it's fine. We don't need formalities now. You're pretty much in the family. It's totally fine. But yeah. They basically, WuXian has the body of Mingzhu. So, and the disciples are looking after it. Fair. And so, I like that XiChen's like, you owe me an explanation. And here's the worst part about it all, is that Wangji's like, we saw all this go down. And, of course, XiChen's not going to trust him at first, because it's the Yiling Patriarch. But I like that his thing is, he's like, well, I understand you believe in WuXian, but I believe in Yao. And it's like, oh, that's the worst part about all of this, is that they both trust the people they love. And it's like, but XiChen, the guy you love is a manipulative person who's basically deceiving everyone. And it just sucks that you like someone that's not good. And they try to do, the whole thing with the song, that Yao just altered it. and kind of he took the dark music. I love the fact there's dark music. I like that there's like that demonic cultivation, like it's the dark music that can affect people. But I like that he's smart enough where he blended it in to the whole thing to make it seem like it was a song of clarity, but it was a little bit off. And back in a few episodes ago, Wangji noticed that it was off, and he was like, this isn't the song of clarity. And so that's why he plays it. I'm like, awesome. So here's my thing about Sushi, though. I love the CGI blend with the animation this episode. I thought it looked really good. Then when they go to the Forbidden Library. Here is the thing. XiChen brings up a really good point. He's like, Yao's never been in this Forbidden Library. How would he know, one, where to find the dark music? And two, why would he tear out a page? He's smart. He could memorize it. Why would he tear out a page? And WuXian says, well, it would make sense because he wanted to remove it so that nobody would suspect him. And XiChen was like, no, that doesn't make sense. But here's the thing. I don't think Yao took the page of the music. I think Sushi took the page of the music. Sushi took it. Because Sushi's not smart like Yao. Not in that sense. I don't think Sushi's as smart as Yao is. So I think that Yao manipulated Sushi and was like, hey, if you could go to that Forbidden Library, you're in the Lan clan. If you could go down those forbidden books, find this thing and bring it back to me, that'd be great. I think Sushi went down there, tore out the page of the book, and took it to Yao. That's how it's all. So I think now, yeah, Sushi's in cahoots with Yao. I think so. Or he was in cahoots at the time. I think that maybe Sushi was involved in the turning and the consciousness locking of Ning and of Song. Now, whether something happened in the past that made Sushi kind of go rogue and get away from Yao, I don't know. But some of you pointed out that you think that Yao is his benefactor, is Sushi, because Sushi started a new clan. So that's possible too. But that moment where WuXian was like, he just tore out the page. I was with XiChen. I'm like, doesn't make sense. He could just memorize it and then it wouldn't be suspicious at all. But Sushi's not that smart and doesn't have that good of a memory, and so he just tore out the page and took it. Ah, that's so good. That's so good. I hope that's the case. I'm betting that's the case. But yeah, it's just, and then we get the whole thing with, I like that WuXian and XiChen have a conversation. Like, they're two characters that, back in season 1, I wanted to see them interact more because it seemed like XiChen was always really nice to WuXian, but we never really got a moment of them interacting. And so I really am curious. I was really curious about the scene, and so it's so good. And then going to where all the flowers are, these beautiful purple flowers with all the rabbits that Wangji kept going. I love it. And so, yeah, we get the story about the mom. The mom interests me because it's like, yeah, the mom, I get where Wangji gets his rebellious nature from, right? That there's only 2 places in the cloud recesses that grow these flowers. And one is this place, and the other is their mother's residence where she was imprisoned. So I love this story that XiChen tells WuXian. I can't wait to read it in the novel. So again, I think Wangji inheriting from his mom her rebellious side, because Wangji's not afraid to break the rules if it's for somebody he loves. So he says that due to past grievances, their mother killed their father's teacher, which is interesting. I'm really looking forward to, in the novel, getting some more explanation of that, because that seems like a whole story in itself. It seems like a whole story in itself, and I'm like, they obviously didn't have time to go into it in this episode because it's a sole side thing, but I'm really hoping that they dive into more details with that in the novel, because I'm like, oh, she killed someone? Crazy, okay. And then WuXian's like, well, what happened after that? And he's like, well, my father fell in love with my mother at first sight. Obviously, Lan clans, right? And then he went against the clan and married her. So I'm guessing that she killed his teacher before they got married, and he was like, I still love her. So that ties back to both Wangji and XiChen, because Wangji, despite everything that WuXian did, Wangji still was in love with him. So he's still stuck by his side, and XiChen's doing basically the same thing with Yao that their dad did. So it's like father, like sons, right? And then he locked her up and secluded himself. Kind of like as a self-punishment, I'm assuming. And I love that XiChen's like, do you know why he did that? He can't disregard the fact that she killed his teacher, and he can't disobey the clan rules. So he married her to protect her life and went into seclusion to atone for his sins. Do you think he was right to do that? So it's basically what Wangji did too, right? Because he said the dad secluded himself, which is why we didn't see him the first couple seasons, because he was secluded and Kieran was taking over. Well, not taking over, but y'all know what I mean. Kieran was around Wangji and XiChen more than their dad. But he imprisoned her and married her to save her life. So Wangji's doing the same thing. He wanted WuXian to come back to the cloud recesses to save him. He's basically marrying WuXian to save his life, to get him into the Lan clan despite everything. And XiChen's like, do you think he was right to do that? And then WuXian's like, well, I don't know. That's a hard thing to say. And then XiChen's like, well, what should he have done? It's like there's no answer. Like, how you can't speak for somebody else. And I like that XiChen's like, father ruined the rest of his life because of somebody he loved. And uncle grew harsher on Wangji and me. And they got to visit her once. We don't even see her face, but she's so beautiful. And like, I love the little baby Wangji with his chubby cheeks. And I love that you kind of see her. And she has the flowers and everything. And she's holding Wangji on the lap. And you get to see like part of her, and she seems so pretty. She seems like maybe she looks more like XiChen. I don't know. I love that. And Wangji's the kind to ignore you the more you try to tease him. Oh, and he does the same thing with his fist clenching as he does now. It's too cute. It's too damn cute. But yeah, Wangji would never say anything, but he stood at the mountain waiting on her. They loved seeing her every month. And then when she died, he stood like waiting after her too. So yeah, it explains so much of why Wangji is the way that he is, and why he was like that with WuXian, and him just sitting there waiting is just like in Modazushi Q when it showed Wangji waiting too. And I love WuXian like leaning over to grab him, and it dissipates the memory. He's been a stubborn child, and he met you when he was young, and he believes you're kind. And no matter what happened, and no matter what they say about you, he'll always stay by your side. Yeah. And then WuXian's like, that's how you are with Yao. The same thing happened. You met him when you were young too. And it's the same damn thing. For XiChen, it was Yao's kindness and his self-sacrifice to not turn him in that is what made XiChen fall in love. And for Wangji, WuXian is just a love at first sight, right? God. It's so tragic because WuXian's a good person in reality. WuXian is a good person at heart. And Wangji is justified to want to stay by his side and protect him. And I'm curious, somebody asked me this on YouTube, why Wangji has the scars on his back. And I think that he did it to atone for his sin of loving WuXian. I think he gave himself the scars because he had the discipline whip because he's like, I wanted to save WuXian and I love him and I'll stay by his side. And his atoning for that sin, his punishment was to whip himself. And then I didn't notice this first, but in the scene where XiChen's trying to like scrub his cloak and he has a hole in it, and then Yao takes over and scrubs it. It shows it like drying, and they've stitched up the little tear. Yeah, so I feel sorry for XiChen because his love for Yao is rooted in the same thing that Wangji had in his love for WuXian, for XiChen, his love for Yao, and the problem is Yao is not WuXian. Yao is manipulative. He is a deceiver. He is complicated. He has done really bad things that we have seen. And so XiChen just can't believe that someone that's been like that to him could be bad. And it's like, yeah, no, he is. And that's the problem, is that XiChen is trying to come to terms with all of this. He's like, how do you expect me to believe that such a person would be two-faced, much less kill his brother and his own son? Yeah, that's the worst part of it. He's like, he was so kind to me and was so caring, and you think that I'm going to believe that he killed his brother and his own son? Like, what? And his hand shaking, it's like, it's that same, him and Wangji have that same conviction. And that look he gives WuXian, and he's like, I've talked a lot today. It's like, I feel so bad for XiChen. I do. It's like the pain is real. The angst. Stab me with a knife. And he's like, don't mind, Mr. Wei. And him playing the song. It kind of reminded me of Wangji a little bit, actually. The song, when I first heard him playing it, I'm like, this kind of sounds like the Wangji theme. But I'm like, he wouldn't know that because he wasn't there. It was just between Wangji and WuXian. Playing it for the flowers. And then here we go. Here we go. Yep, a peculiar clan indeed. Their ancestors were monks and they're conservative and old-fashioned, but the men, when they fall hard and they're loyal. And I love that WuXian's like, oh, look at this rabbit. And I have to admit, having raised rabbits before, that scurrying motion it does is usually what they do. They don't like to be held. Not like that. And so I like that WuXian finally puts 2 and 2 together and finds, I don't know the significance of the peony. I know it's probably symbolic, but I don't know the significance of the peony. I'm sure y'all will comment and tell me what it is. But I love that Wangji kept the book of him writing back the rules. He kept his handwriting, and then he circled the part about the headband. And our dense chaotic gremlin finally puts 2 and 2 together. And I just like the record scratch, and he's like, wait. And it's like he has the little circle that the headband will only be removed by a fated person. Fated. Yep. And it all like hits at the same time. And I love that WuXian's like, what have I done? And Wangji's like, what did you do? And that gay panic. The gay panic that WuXian's like, oh, crap. Don't look at anything. No, nothing. Everything's fine. It's so good. It's like Wangji's not going to notice. And then I'm glad, actually, that the jar of Emperor Smile that he gets is the one that he mixed with water. So, you know, having just had injuries, it's probably better that he doesn't do that. But I love that Wangji immediately gets nervous and then is like, oh, and that look of concern on Wangji's face, like, oh, are you okay? And then he's like, and just rips open the robe. I cannot wait for the novel and audio drama. That's all I'm going to say. Yep. Oh, WuXian. WuXian's gay panic in this episode was amazing. So, yeah. Yep. And so I like that Wangji brings back the Emperor's Smile for him. And he has 2 cups like they're going to drink together. I love it. I just love it. And of course, you know, then everything is, the intruder badge goes off. And that's because Yao shows up. And damn, here's the thing, the badge doesn't work anymore. So why? Why doesn't the token work anymore? Is it because XiChen doesn't trust you? He just doesn't want to admit it? Because I'm trying to think back to why they had to have the token to get in. So why did he get labeled as an intruder? And he's like, I gifted it to you. And it's never failed before, but now it has failed. So does that mean that XiChen doesn't trust him anymore? That he's having doubts? And he invites him in, but he doesn't do it. And he's in the shadows. Like the symbolism of Yao in the shadows is so cool. It's so neat that it's just furthering that suspicion. And he's like, oh, well, we haven't found the Yiling Patriarch yet, but we're going to come back here and look. Do you have a certain time? It's like, do you have a certain time you want us to come prowl your place? And it's like, how nice of you to let them give you a time to come back. And XiChen's like, yeah, come back tomorrow. And they adhere to it. Interesting. Yeah. And the fish. And he just leaves the jade token there. And then he still says he's going to find the culprit for the Mingju body. It's like, dude, you're responsible for it. But there's still some more there. So XiChen basically saying, and you could tell XiChen's like, I want to try to play the remains of that tune again. And it wouldn't be, and I like it would be against the rules to try it on someone else. And he's like, I'll do it on myself. And I like that Wangji's like, you really don't have to do that. And so basically XiChen's saying, he's been a respectable, kind of benevolent person. I've always believed that those who criticized him simply misunderstood him. So he's done everything in his power to not fall into the suspicions others have had of Yao. And so he's like, I need to know. I've got to be certain before I make a judgment. So he's like, I'm going to try that tune on myself and see what happens. And if he does have other intentions, I won't tolerate it. And then we get this mysterious thing about coming to Tan City. So I'm a little bit worried about XiChen going by himself to Tan City. I'm a little bit worried about that. I don't like that at all. I think that's suspicious. I mean, XiChen's a pretty competent person, but I think that's suspicious. I don't like it. So I guess we'll see what happens in that forefront, right? But then the observation towers are brought back up in this, and there's a large group of corpses heading in the same direction towards the burial mounds, making it look like it's the Yiling Patriarch's doings. Of course. So that begs the question, who's at the burial mounds doing all this crazy stuff? Is it Yao? Is it Yang? What is going on? Because somebody with a lot of demonic cultivation powers would have used the tiger amulet to bring all these corpses back up. So who was it? But I want to get to the part about who is in the shadows. So then, yeah, they see somebody, Zishui and Jingyi. But where's the blood? Why? No! And so it's daylight, and they see somebody saying help, and somebody's chasing them. But okay, I want to go back. I'm gonna try to pause it. I know it's cheating. Is it Song? Or is that Ning? It looks kind of like Ning, but why? And then we see the shadow of that figure, but it looks like there's horns or something coming out of it. What? I am so confused. Show, what we doing? So, lots of questions still remaining. Some answered. Questions like, where's Sushi in all this? Huiseng has the body of Mingzhu. Where is he falling in all this? Where did Chang go? Where did Baby Ling go? Because that was Sishui and Jingyi. Are Sishui and Jingyi okay? Where is Ning in all this? Is that Ning? Is it Song? Is it Yang? What is it? What's happening? Why? I feel like we get answers to these questions, and that's awesome. But I still have so many. We get answers to the questions, but there's still so many more remaining, and I don't know what to do. But I'm so excited, y'all. We still have 4 episodes to go, and that has me pretty excited. I'm sad that we're in the latter part of the season, but there's still a whole month left of Modazushi. So don't think of it as 4 episodes. Think of it as 4 weeks, a month. A month is a good long time, right? Yeah. I'm so excited, y'all. I can't wait. But I'm curious to know your thoughts down below, what y'all thought of this episode. Obviously, I'm excited to get to the novel and the audio drama when we get to it. But this episode, wonderful. So, in the meantime, I hope y'all have a great week. Please stay safe, take care, and I'll be back next week with episode 9 of Modazushi. Bye.